races have played out for us, that we try to have that healthy vision of seeing when it's not going our way. How do we dig from behind? How do we have the belief in each other as a team? You know, our chemistry on the radio, just the way we execute the race. Tyler does a great job of staying in that mindset with us too. To me, what we showcase today is what I think we've been building for several years as a relationship, you know, thing within our team and a process thing within our team, where even when it's not all the things that we want it to be, just go to work and stay at work, keep our head down and try to execute towards the end of the race. And he and I were joking after the race of, you know, how many times we hit the fence, and, you know, there's times in the past where I'm like, hey man, you know, let's back it down just a little or whatever, and we talk through it. I now know, and I think he knows where we stand together, that that's him getting his rhythm, and that's him finding the limits. The next gen car is tough and it can handle it. So even at the end of the race, I didn't want to distract him from what he was doing, because I knew that he was putting in the work. You know, to your point, it was a workmanlike day. I knew he was putting in the work to find his limits and to know what he was going to have to do to catch those guys and pass for the win, and he did a great job.
We've also now been joined by our race-winning driver, that's Kyle Larson, driver of the number 5 Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet. We'll continue on with Zach.
Zach Sterniolo, Nascar.com. Congratulations on this to both of you. Cliff, I'll start with you. You talked about the chemistry right there, reminding Kyle to run his race. In the closing moments, especially as he's closing in on the 40, how important are those reminders? And Kyle, from your perspective, when you hear that on the radio, how does that impact what you're doing while you're locked in trying to chase down that car as well?
I think my previous answer may have helped to answer some of that. The last thing that I would say is I've learned enough because of the communication that we've had and just talking through different scenarios in a race. I've learned enough how to not take him out of the rhythm of the space that he's in, of knowing there's a mark I've got to hit on entry, there's a line he's got to hit by the wall, set up his exit, the way, you know, his whole cadence with that is that, you know, I think my role now is really just to encourage him in what he's doing. I know he's pushing, I know he's learning every lap. So I just see it to encourage him to do what makes him special.
Yeah, and for me, you know, it's calming, I think, to get those, you know, little reminders late when I'm pushing hard to close on those guys, because, you know, 10 laps sounds like not a lot of time, but it honestly is a lot of time. So, but, you know, I think I heard that on the front stretch, and I went into one, hit the fence. So I think then I reminded myself when I got to exit 2, I'm like, okay, I'm way faster than these guys, let's just calm down. But yeah, it's just challenging. You know, that's as long of a run as you really get, you know, at Homestead. So we were all kind of struggling and sliding around, and you're still trying to run inches off the wall to maximize your grip and lap time and all that. So it's tough, but you know, I've got a lot of confidence, you know, in Cliff and everybody here at the track, as well as at the, you know, the Hendrick, you know, shop during the race, that you know, they've got a plan as well as, you know, my plan goes along, and you know, we can kind of all stay on track together.
Before we continue on, do we have any final questions for Cliff? Okay, we'll go to Deb.
Deb Williams, Auto Week. Congratulations to both of you. Cliff, what was the damage that was done to the car when Josh Berry hit him on pit road during the caution period?
Yeah, good question. Basically, there's a vent in front of the exhaust exit on the rocker panel, and the vent was knocked out, and even more of a hole was kind of opened up there, which I knew was going to be bad for downforce. I knew it was going to be bad for speed. To be honest, I was probably a little late on my end in processing the pictures that I was getting and kind of talking through what our plan of attack could be to fix it. So when I was calling us in to pit to fix it, we were coming to one to go to choose, and knew that was really going to put us way behind the field coming to the green. So elected just to take the chance of keeping the track position and keeping the car out there. Talking to Kyle a little bit after the race, I think we were down a tick on performance because of that. Ultimately, this next-gen car is a pretty tough machine overall. We see it all the time, especially with guys being able to drag the wall today, keep going. You don't see a lot of flat tires. So fortunate for us that the hole wasn't worse, and we were able to keep going through it.
How large was the hole? Looked like
Probably,
baseball size.
I don't know, 6 inches tall, 10 inches long. It's pretty big.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
All right, we'll go next to Holly.
Holly Kane with the Nascar Wire Service. Kyle, if you were to be real honest with us, mere mortals, when you have a situation happen like yesterday, when you clearly dominated a race and didn't win it, do you come in today even more motivated? I know you're highly motivated every week, every race, but did you kind of come in today like, I am going to win this race? I mean,
not that. Definitely extra motivated, and given past history, I just wanted to take the green flag and kick everybody's ass today. Honestly, like I wanted to get to the lead early and just dominate like I was yesterday. But then the green flag flew and it was like the opposite. I was going backwards and getting pissed off in the helmet and just frustrated. But just figured that day was not going to go like that. So then you just forget about all that. I think just leading into the race, that's what your thought process is. But then, after 10 laps or so, I quickly forgot about the wanting to kick everybody's ass all race long, and was just like, all right, let's try and work hard at this and get a win. And that's kind of how the race played out. So, yeah, I mean, I'm proud of myself for kind of overcoming that immature mindset, before the race, and just digging down deep to stay in it, because it wasn't a typical Homestead for me. I was never able to get to lead until it really mattered, where typically, I lead all the laps that don't matter, except for the last one. So, yeah, just, proud that, we're able to keep our heads in it today.
All right, before we continue, we'll go ahead and release Cliff. Congratulations, Cliff. We'll continue on with Kyle. Questions for Kyle? Okay, we'll go to Brian.
Brian Twining, Bedford's Media Group. Kyle, on Wednesday, I asked you what your expectations were for this race being in the spring as opposed to being in the fall. How would you assess the way the race progressed and whether or not the actual time change did affect the racing on track?
I don't really think that it affected it at all. I feel like this track is so abrasive that it didn't really seem much different. The only thing that seemed different to me was we had more cloud cover during the race. And there was runs early in the race when there wasn't as much cloud cover, and it played out like normal Homestead. And then I would say the last third of the race, there was quite a bit of cloud cover, so the pace was much faster, it seemed, in the car. More people were kind of making fast entries into one work than typical in the fall. So, but temperatures and all that were relatively the same. So I really just think the cloud cover that we had today was the biggest factor.
Go to Dalton.
Kyle, Dalton Hopkins, the front stretch. I know you said that what happened yesterday motivated you, but now after that you've won, does it sting a little bit more knowing that if it weren't for what happened yesterday, you would have gotten the sweep done?
I mean, maybe as I go home tonight and lay down and think about the week more, but honestly right now I don't think about it at all. I wasn't thinking about that as I took the lead, anything like that. So, yeah, I was pretty, disappointed all of, the time after the race yesterday, but I woke up this morning feeling, for the most part, fine, motivated, but fine, kind of over, the finish of yesterday. So, yeah, I'm sure when I lay down tonight, I'll probably think about it, but I'm just happy to get a Cup Series win. They're so tough to get.
And can you take me through that last green flag run? And for, I assume, all of us who have never driven a race car before, can you describe how hard it is to conserve your tires when they wear out so much, enough to where you were faster than everyone that was in front of you at the end?
Yeah, it's a challenge. It's a challenge here, because I feel like for me and what makes me good on the long runs, I don't know if it would make anybody else good on long runs, but just running the wall at both ends of the track. So it's like when the pace is fast, I can't really do that in 1 and 2 because it's such, far distance on entry, and they could be, 6 car lengths back of me, and if I go up there, they might pass me. So it's like I got to manage the gaps behind me, go to the top when I feel like I have that room to, and so yeah, that's kind of what I was doing. I figured I wasn't going to get a good restart, but I was happy to net out third, and I was like, all right, cool, I can protect from the 19 behind me and run here. And, I know I'm going to be better than them if this run goes green. And then I hit the wall. 19 got by me, so I was like, shoot, that's just going to make things tougher. And then I did it again later, and the 11 got to me inside, and I had to battle really hard to hold him off. And that was kind of the pivotal, moment of getting the win for me. I think if Denny gets by me, it's over. I don't win. Maybe I can get, who knows, back to the top 3 or something, but it was going to be challenging. Held him off, and then I got a good enough gap behind him and put some decent laps together where I stretched out on him, and about that same time I could see that they were really starting to come back to me quickly. So I figured they were starting to get really loose in front of me, and just had to kind of stay committed to what I was doing. And the 19 had moved up to try and figure out my line in 1 and 2, but he was really slow doing it, so I passed him easily. And then Bubba looked really loose in front of me, got a big run on him down the back, and was more aggressive with the move into 3 than I was when I was battling for the lead with him the run before. So passed him, and then I figured I could get by Alex when I got to him, and then he just got into the wall. So they were all kind of struggling. They looked really loose in front of me, and so was I, but I think I just had a little bit more tire than they did.
We'll go to David and then back to Holly.
David Neal, Miami Herald. I know you said you woke up this morning fine. What are some of the mental processes you go through, if there are any, after something like that yesterday to wake up fine today?
I don't know. I mean, it's probably not the same every time, but it was just Owen and I here this weekend, so, got to go back to the bus. He was fishing when, I got back there, so that was kind of relaxing. Just the night, the weather was great, the, sunset was pretty. I mean, it's about like this time of night last night, so it was really relaxing, and just the infield here kind of feels like you're camping. So, that was really nice, and then there was lots of racing to watch on TV. So I watched the Outlaws, I watched the High Limit, I watched something else. He was playing some video games, so just got my mind off of the result of that finish yesterday. So but like I said, it's a little different every time. If the family was here, the whole family, it'd be chaos, and I would probably be super frustrated because you don't really want to. I don't really want to talk to anybody after a result that doesn't go your way. So it was nice that it was just Owen and I, and didn't have to listen to too much noise.
Go to Holly. Back to Holly.
Kyle, I just wanted to ask you about the team. You guys are 1, 2, 3 in the standings. Chase is 6, so 4 of you in the top 6. Does this feel like you guys are, I know it's early, but I mean, does it feel like you guys are putting some stuff out there and you've got a really great vibe going on? Yeah,
it's very impressive to have 4 in the top 6. That's extremely tough to do. So although it's early in the year, I still think that's something to be proud of at HMS. So everybody works really hard. You're always constantly trying to get better and evolve your race cars and evolve your team and the processes. But I think all 4 teams do have a good process, and we all work really well together. And outside of HMS too, the key partners, they're very helpful in getting to work with them and all that. But you want to be better. And although, I feel like we're for the top 6, I don't think that any of us are like the best car currently. So there's still a lot of work to do to get to where we need to be, and just trying to get better each and every week.
Any final questions for Kyle? Okay, we'll close with Deb.
Thank you. Deb Williams with Auto Week. With this victory, Kyle, this is your 14th in the current Cup car. What is it that you think about this current Cup car fits your driving style and allows you to do that?
I don't know. I think if we would still have the 2021 car, I'd have about 50 Cup wins right now. So I think switching to this car has limited us from winning. So I don't know, but I think just being with a good team and being able to adapt to new things is something you try to pride yourself on, and I think that's an area where the 5 team really excels, and the 24 as well. I think we probably share or are top 2 in most next gen wins. So, young, adaptable drivers and teams. So, yeah, they're just they're difficult cars to drive, though. You have to run really hard, and I think that probably benefits a guy like myself.
Kyle, congratulations.
Thanks.